All right, hi everybody, Ryan here once again. So today we've got a 04 Freightliner Columbia in here. I actually did an inspection on this truck back in June for a customer. I brought it back in for some work, so I wanted to go through it again. So I was going to take you all through it with me here and show you some of the highlights of what we look for. One thing to keep in mind with this particular truck, is that it's been sitting stored inside for like 7 or 8 years. So there's a couple things I want to show you guys. If you're looking to buy a truck that's been sitting for several years, even though this one was stored inside, there are a couple issues that have popped out. Some things you need to look for when you're looking at those trucks that have been sitting for a while, that you may not see those type of problems on trucks that have been on the road continuously running. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started here and show you what we're looking at. So generally, we look at the engine and everything, look for any major leaks. This truck, I believe, a little history on it, it had a replacement engine put in. I know when I ran the computer on it the first time I did this back in June, the serial number didn't match the VIN, so we know it has been replaced. It's a real clean engine, it runs really good. I've drove it and all that, shifts nice, drives nice, all that good stuff. Radiator's in really good shape, looks like it may have been replaced at one time, really clean, no damage to it, the core, anything like that. Then steering gearbox, that's all pretty clean, no leaks or anything. Maybe a little bit of leak on this hose here. So that's one of the things on these trucks that have been sitting, you're gonna wanna look out for are your hoses. Anything rubber, this stuff dry rots and it can start to leak, air or oil or coolant filled. The steering shaft here, that's pretty loose. We're probably gonna replace that. And that's actually the seal for it. So we're probably gonna replace that steering shaft right off the bat. Coming on down, one thing, tires. I said when you're looking at these older trucks, there is a manufacturer date on these. So I believe anything after 2000, after the year 2000, they'll have a 4-digit date code here. So this is gonna be upside down for you guys, but it's 4210. So that means this tire was manufactured the 42nd week of 2010. So I guess that's right around October of 2010. So this tire is 12 years old. On a steer tire, I would not be driving around on this tire. Anything over 10 years, I don't believe there is a DOT law out there, but I think a good rule of thumb is probably 10 years is probably about the maximum that I would want to run a steer tire. I mean, any tire really, but especially a steer tire. So I'm gonna recommend a replacement on these steer tires at a minimum. I mean, and they even look they kind of got a little bit of dry checking to them. But I would highly recommend, like I said, 12-year-old tires on the steers. I would probably replace those. So I want to introduce our sponsor today, WeBull. During the month of November, they got a great promotion right now through viewers to our channel where you can get up to 12 free stocks valued up to $30,600. So if you're interested in that, please check out the link below and continue to support WeBull and our channel as well. Truck's got a little bit of rust. This is probably from when it was running on the road. Not terrible, but just something to look out for. The truck is in, the body and everything, frame is in halfway decent shape for being almost a 20-year-old truck. I believe it was manufactured in September of 03, so 19 years old. So it looks like there has been a little bit of work done to it since the last time I looked at it. I believe they put an alternator on it, some new bump hoses here. Looks like AC compressor, air dryer looks to be replaced. A little bit of corrosion here on the brake chamber, so it's not going through or anything, but that'd be something to look at when you see rust if it's actually got holes in the little chamber. Tire wear here. You see they're wearing to the outside. Could be kingpins. Like I said, you kind of got wear this way. So once we jack it up, we'll probably go ahead and check for kingpin wear. And again, we've got the same rust, corrosion right here on this member as we did over on the other side. And again, like I said, guys, these hoses, rubber hoses, like I said, it almost feels like I could just rip that. So we'd probably recommend replacing some of these radiator hoses too, because it's better off to spend a little bit of money to replace them now than it is to take it out on the road. The next thing you know, you blow one of those and you're on the side of the road, lost all your coolant, and it might even be a tow, one of those type of things for $100 in hoses or something. So we've kind of jumped back to the back of the truck right now. Again, tires back here. Looking at the date code on these were the 20th week of 2012. These are about 10 and a half years old. I mean, on the drive tires, I mean, it's still a safety issue. You know, once you put some weight on these, there's a chance. I mean, with heat and weight and all that, there's a good chance, you know, you could blow one of these out, but it's not as big as a concern as a steer tire. One of my biggest fears as a former driver was blowing out a steer tire because, you know, if you're running 70 mile an hour or whatever, and you lose one of those steer tires, there's a good chance you could be going across the highway and head on traffic or roll the truck over. So it's not something that I would want to go through. So up here on top, see your torque arms here, torque rods, and the bushings are shot in these, so we're probably going to go and replace these on both axles. And fifth wheel's halfway tight, so that's a good thing. At least it's loose. A lot of times I see them when trucks have been sitting, they get frozen up. But this one isn't too bad. I mean, that is a Fontaine, so these are pretty easy to replace versus the Yost or Joss fifth wheels. Other thing on this truck, I mean, since it's been sitting so long, I'm probably recommend putting a new set of shocks on it too while we're at it. Kind of got a rat's nest down here of wires. This isn't good, so we're gonna have to go through this, sort all this out, get everything tied up, put some loom on it, and get that so where it doesn't hit something and the guy loses all of his, don't have no lights at 2 o'clock in the morning or something. That's not very fun. And brake shoes here on the rear drive axle, they are getting pretty close. I mean, they're probably, it's kind of hard to see from your vantage point there, but they're probably about a 1/16 of an inch or so left to the wear line. So we'll probably go ahead and throw a set of shoes on the back of this too. Probably drums too. The drums are cut in a little bit there. Other thing we saw here is your airbags. Again, like I said in the beginning, I said anything rubber. I mean, these are just like, they're like leather. There's no really flexibility or elasticity in that at all. And, you can see at the bottom, they're all dry checked. So that's just basically a ticking time bomb. Put a trailer on here, load it down, and got 34,000 pounds on it. Those probably ain't gonna make it. So, like I said, I'd rather replace them now than do it on the side of the road somewhere. So we'll probably go ahead and throw 4 new airbags on it as well. Okay, so down here underneath, like I said, anything rubber, we're gonna wanna check out this carrier bearing. I mean, it's pretty tight, not moving, don't look too bad. U-joints all look pretty good, everything's pretty tight. And like I said, this truck's relatively clean compared to a lot of other trucks I've looked at of this vintage. A lot of them, everything's rusted out underneath here. So up top here, these are garbage, these little cab airbags. Like you can see the belts, those got to be replaced as well, because if one of those blows, you're going to lose all your air and you're going to be on the side of the road. All right, so up here the transmission, we're at the tail shaft end or tail end here. We got oil leaking everywhere. Looks like it's coming from right here at this tail shaft gasket. Doesn't look like it's actually the seal, but it looks like it's coming from this gasket right here and running out all over the place. And as you can see, it's been kind of slinging it everywhere. Again, when something's been sitting this long, when you start running it again, you know, stuff starts to leak because it hasn't been lubricated in so long that the seals get hard. They don't work the way they're supposed to anymore with your seals and gaskets. Then up here we have a somewhat more serious issue. Up here in the bell housing, you can see it's pretty wet up in there. It appears that it's the front seal or input shaft on the, or not a seal, but the input shaft cover on the front of the transmission here looks like it's leaking, because up forward here towards the engine, it looks like that's dry, so I don't think it's a remain seal. It's most likely the front of the transmission leaking. But this transmission may have to come out and put an input shaft kit in it to reseal that and fix that tail shaft leak as well. Engine up here looks halfway decent. Like I said, pretty clean engine, so don't look too bad. Leaf spring shackle bushings and all that look pretty good. Look pretty tight, don't see any really issues there. Then when you see this dirt stuck to the shocks, you know, is usually a sign that they've lost the fluid out of them, the oil. That's when the dirt sticks to them. Like I said, with this, something this old, I'll probably, you know, like I said, we said earlier, we're probably going to replace all the shocks in it. The brake shoes here look really good. The problem is that what I don't like to see, these are brand new shoes almost, but the drums, you know, are cut in almost to 1/8 of an inch. So I don't understand why people, if you're going to, it's not a whole lot more money to go ahead and throw new drums on it. It's probably the same labor. But that's, I don't like to see that, and I see it a lot, unfortunately, because then when you're braking, it's trying to shove this new shoe into that groove, and that's when you get popping noises and it doesn't brake properly. So that's just something to look out for as well. It's hard for you to see from the camera there, but that is kind of a deep groove, so we may replace these drums. The steering, everything's pretty tight for now. Once you get it out and start working it, that may be a different story. But yeah, I think we're pretty well done right here for now. So we're up inside the truck here. We got a little bit of damage to the console and stuff, so we're gonna see if we can't find maybe something used over at Edelman to get this fixed up a little bit nicer, you know, for a little bit nicer ride going down the road. So nothing, I mean, for a truck this old, nothing too crazy. Halfway decent seats. Everything up here is pretty nice. This one doesn't have the window. A lot of these have a nice little skylight up here. This one don't have it. Sleeper and all that ain't in too bad a shape, really. Windows all look good. Don't look like there's any leaks or anything or stains on any of this fabric type stuff. So not too bad. Need a mattress in here though, probably. Looks like still got all the original manuals and stuff in here as well. So, and I think we're gonna put a refrigerator in this truck also. So, but yeah, that's the interior. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. So that was just kind of a quick run through here. We do these inspections a lot for customers out there. This was a truck that's been stored for a while, so that's just kind of a few highlights of things to look at when you're looking at a truck like this. So I hope that helps you out. We appreciate you watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for the updates, and like the video. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.